Good morning. I'm Suzanne Alexander. Well, farmers, they are navigating market volatility as spring planting ramps up. Mixed weather patterns. We're talking shifting input prices, really playing a big role in some decisions. Brooks York with AgriSompo joins us now for more. Brooks, always a pleasure. I think the last time you joined us, you had mentioned that while emotional volatility can be beneficial. So maybe talk about the marketing strategies in this kind of environment.
You know, Suzanne, they can be very volatile, and a lot of times it gives us opportunity, but at the times whenever it's the toughest to make a decision. And so I really like going to the options market in times like these, and there's lots of complex strategies, but the base of those really revolves around buying a put option, or in other words, buying the right to sell futures if you choose to do so in the future. I think that's a great combination with volatility, the unknowns, the emotions, having the right to do something, but you don't have to necessarily take that right. So I like a base option strategy with a long put option being part of it, specifically on soybeans right now. I think there's some opportunities there.
Yeah, nice pairing. You know, we often hear when there's volatility, there is opportunity. But let's talk about the flip side. Your greatest fear when it comes to marketing and crop insurance. What are you looking at?
Well, you know, a lot of times when we hit that worry level, that seems extreme. That's whenever we probably need to be making decisions, but it's tough. And so the likelihood of the things that I worry about are relatively low in happening. But things like a decoupling between the futures market and the cash market is something that probably keeps me up a little bit at night when you've got speculators that jump in, maybe running a market too high, too low. The basis regulates that on a cash basis. And so that cash price becomes king, and I like to see cash and futures being relative to what the commodity's worth rather than being, the possibility of being decoupled. And again, the odds of that happening are relatively low, but when we're in this worry mode, we think about those things even if the likelihood's relatively small.
Well, we're looking, of course, to this WASDE report coming out in just about, less than a half hour. Historically least volatile. Any expectations, Brooks, and how producers navigate decisions when we get these numbers, or you see this really not having an effect at all?
You know, it would surprise me if it's got an effect that trumps what's going on geopolitically right now. I think we're one news headline away from, maybe not it's a protein direct market movement, but something that indirectly affects us, especially, with the energy market being as volatile as what it is. But, I would be surprised if we see a big change here in a few minutes.
Yeah, all eyes, of course, watching that energy market big time right now. Brooks, a pleasure. Thank you so much. Brooks York with AgriSompo. Always great to have him join us and have his analysis.